My ex-wife, who we'll call Sue, was my high school sweetheart. We started dating in 1992, when we were both 17. We're now 45, and we've been together ever since. She's the only woman I've ever been with in my entire life. We got married 5 years later, at 22, fresh out of college. A year later, we had our first of 2 sons, now 22 and 17. I devoted 23 years to her. I built a house for her. I worked hard to give her the life she wanted. Of course, we had tough times, but what marriage doesn't? Even in the worst moments, we found a way to push through and come out stronger on the other side. That's what made discovering her affair even more shocking. I wasn't just upset. It wasn't just the divorce I wanted. I wanted to see her suffer. I wanted to turn her life upside down, and that wasn't going to happen quickly. I laid out a meticulous plan, one that would keep Sue completely in the dark, never knowing what to expect from me. While she believed she was in control, I was secretly planning my own exit.
Hey guys, welcome to our channel.
In March 2020, I first got the feeling that something was off. For about 2 months prior, we'd been going through a rough patch. I was recovering from knee reconstruction surgery and still had limited movement. At the time, I had only about 55% range of motion in my knee, which affected a lot at home. I was on leave from work and couldn't do my usual household chores, so a lot of things piled up. My sons did what they could, but tasks that only I could handle had to be put off, or my wife had to do them, which left her dissatisfied. Things had also stopped in the bedroom between us. It had already slowed down before my injury, but in my condition at the time, it stopped completely. During those months, she was spending more time going out with coworkers after hours. Between November 2019 and March 2020, this became a regular occurrence. Naturally, I didn't think much of it. Never, in the 23 years we'd been together, had I had any reason to worry or distrust her. She had her friends, I had mine, and we had mutual friends. I would go out with my friends all the time, and there was never an issue. Everything was out in the open. Around January of that year, though, I noticed something strange. Sue began to noticeably distance herself from me. Sure, we were in a weird phase, but she had never withheld affection until then. The usual hugs and kisses she'd give me stopped. Her phone had been glued to her hand long before my suspicions grew, but she always shared things with me. DIY ideas, Pinterest recipes, memes, all sorts of things she'd find online. Now, she was being secretive with her phone. Even her interactions with me became more curt, like she couldn't be bothered. Then it's March. COVID-19 hits, and New York City is on lockdown. Our chosen careers fall under the essential designation, so neither of us has to work from home. I had just been cleared to return to work after 5 months of leave and was eager to get back into it. As sitting for 5 months, rehabbing my knee and being unable to do physical activities had left me frustrated. I love physical activities. I'm an avid martial artist and usually hit the gym 4 days a week, plus all the home projects I used to do. Within a week or 2 of the lockdown, my ex-wife tells me she'll have to start working overtime. Naturally, I assumed it'd be every other day, but no, it was every day. And not just an hour or 2 extra. She'd come home 3 or more hours late, go straight to the shower, spend a little time with me and our 17-year-old son. Our 22-year-old lives across town with his girlfriend, then go to bed. Since I was gaining more mobility with my knee, we began to get intimate again, but as you might have guessed, she wasn't mentally or emotionally present, which I quickly noticed. By early April, things became clearer to me. All the signs pointed to the fact that she was having an affair. That's when I decided I needed answers. I scoured the internet for signs of infidelity, and sure enough, she was checking practically every box. Then, my research turned to how to find proof. I started with her social media. Looking through her Facebook posts from months earlier, it seemed pretty typical. Photos of us, our kids, and her with her friends, along with more than a few pictures of her nights out with coworkers. In these photos, it's a mix of her closest friends from work and a couple of people I'd never met from her job. But I noticed something recurring in many of these pictures: a guy. In every photo he was in, he was uncomfortably close to her. His arm around her shoulder, his hand on her back. Way too close for a guy I had never met personally. Needless to say, this left a bitter taste in my mouth. But that wasn't the worst part. No. The worst part was that this guy was her friend on Facebook and followed her on Instagram. So I checked his Facebook account, and guess what? I was blocked. Why on earth was I blocked from seeing this guy's account? but he was friends with her on Facebook. Yeah, now I'm in full detective mode. At that point, I wasn't even trying to deny it. I knew she was cheating on me with this guy.
There are invisible scars that shape lives. Abuse steals your peace, but not your strength. Breaking the Cycle of Abuse is an interactive guide where you'll find powerful tools to identify the signs of abuse, understand the dynamics of violence, find shelter and legal and psychological support, plan a safe exit from a harmful environment, overcome trauma and rebuild your self-esteem. Start your journey of healing and transformation now for just $9.60.
I knew she was cheating on me with this guy. My mission was to find out for how long. And throughout April and May, that's exactly what I did. You know, I had no idea how much information you could gather from phone, text, and email records until then. We have a family cell plan, and I was able to access a lot of data. My ex-wife's usage history was revealing. The two most frequent numbers she interacted with from October 2019 to April 2020 were mine, and a number I'd never seen before. Guess whose number it was? A quick Google search confirmed it was the guy from the photos who had blocked me on Facebook. Let's call him POS. Again, the picture became even clearer at that point. But many of their messages and texts were disjointed, meaning she had deleted many of them. I knew she was cheating with this guy, but nothing in the data could serve as concrete proof. I needed more evidence. That's when I told my best friend Oz about what I had found. He asked if I had confronted her with what I knew, and I said no because I didn't feel like I had enough. That's when he told me about a certain app that could monitor her communications in real time. Within days of installing it, I finally saw it. A string of texts between the two of them talking about how much fun they'd had the night before and making plans to do it again. My response was a firm no. I made it clear that I wasn't willing to accept this. I didn't just want to divorce her. I wanted something deeper. I wanted revenge. I wanted to see her life crumble. And for that, I laid out a meticulous plan. In my research on infidelity, a quote stuck with me: "The enemy of infidelity is unpredictability." That became the cornerstone of my plan. I was going to turn her life into a whirlwind, while secretly plotting my exit. Now it's early June and I still have the app installed. Almost every night is spent gathering as much information as possible, combing through her sent and received messages. She and her lover are talking like they're in a full-blown romance. At that point, I stopped reading too much into things. I was just collecting information and storing it on my private server. Meanwhile, I started doing unusual things. I started going out at odd hours. I began coming home even later than she did. When I was with her, I was on my phone way more than usual, and when she asked, "What are you doing?" I just say stuff and put my phone away. I even changed my passwords, blocking any attempts at snooping. Keep in mind, throughout our marriage, we never hid anything from each other.